How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As you can see, this is my first commentary, first one of its kind from me, which I hope you guys will soon go to enjoy. I really don't even know how I feel about this, considering the fact that, I've definitely listened to myself record myself about five or six times already, and just hearing myself play back is just absolutely unreal. Definitely don't sound like what I thought I sounded like, but I guess we're just gonna have to roll with it and see how it goes. So, first commentary of its kind. So I guess this is a good point to start off with a little bit of an introduction. My name online, I go by Unknown. It's also the name of the channel. Probably what I'm going to be sticking to for the near future. Actual name, go by Adrian. And as far as a little bit about myself, I am 26 years old currently. Used to be a technician, an automotive technician. Was able to get around, get to some pretty nice places in the automotive industry. Worked for companies such as Tesla. Decided to part ways with Tesla after a while and ended up studying under BMW, becoming a master technician under BMW, where is basically where I lived out the rest of my automotive career. And then after deciding to part ways with the career, it just really wasn't motivating anymore, really wasn't taking too much of an interest in it. I decided to join the military. Currently serving in the military. Currently stationed out in Hawaii as an 11 Bravo, which, for those who aren't familiar with the term, is infantryman in the United States Army, which is it's been a wonderful time. And thankfully, I think actually joining the Army was one of the things that actually reignited my passion for cars. Working on cars as a career, per se, was definitely almost kind of like a drain. It was one of those things where it was like I did it so much that it just became a job, and there was really no passion or fire behind it. So once I started losing that passion, I decided that I was going to take the time and try to pursue another dream of mine, which was serving in the U.S. military, which has been going very, very well. Very, very well. Definitely am super grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this, and in turn was actually able to start picking up my hobbies as far as automotive racing and working on cars and doing things like this, performing on racing simulators, and basically just getting that little passion that I had when I was a little kid, trying to set the newest quickest time on Need for Speed, things like that. But so far it's been pretty good, and definitely super thankful for the opportunities that presented itself in both career fields, both Army and the automotive industry. So mainly for the channel, at least, the plan is definitely to keep on with the racing. I play things like, as you can see now, Gran Turismo 7 is the newest thing that I'm on right now. I also play Assetto Corsa Competizione. Really can't pronounce that all that well. I wish I had some cool accent that would make that sound a little bit better, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not going to get anywhere from. It's definitely not going to get any better from there. But so that's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm definitely obsessed with racing games, and sim racing has definitely been the newest addition to it. One of the things was, back then, Need for Speed Underground 2 was actually the first game that I did play related to the automotive industry, and I think that's actually the game that started off my passion for cars. Playing Need for Speed Underground 2 on a GameCube, which was definitely an amazing time. kind of only stuck to like the Need for Speed series for a while, and then once I started actually understanding, cars, getting into cars and understanding the workings behind the cars, I definitely started noticing the flaws in the Need for Speed games, which, granted, they were still absolutely, a blast to play, but I definitely wanted something that was going to introduce me to, just a little bit more of a realistic side of racing. So that's when I started hopping on to Gran Turismo, Assetto Corsa, even, dabbling into the F1 for the time being. All of those games are amazing games, but definitely Gran Turismo 7 has to be one of the more enjoyable games for me, solely due to the fact of, you can basically make the game or play the game as you want to play it. It basically caters to all kinds of lifestyles regarding, automotive performance, whether it be track racing, drag racing, drifting, whether you want to be a serious racer, a casual racer, you just want to get online and have fun. It's just an amazing game, which is why it's definitely my game of choice. First Gran Turismo game I played was actually on the PSP, the PlayStation Portable. That was definitely a blast, coming off of Need for Speed, and I just couldn't understand why I wasn't able to hit the brake and drift around the corner like on my Need for Speed games, which absolutely drove me nuts. It was definitely a very interesting experience for the first time, but then, actually going into the automotive world, was able to understand, hey, this is why this game is the way it is. It's not your just normal little catered to people who just want to mod cars and go crazy. And that's when I started taking a real interest in racing in itself. So what I ended up doing was I ended up going to the Universal Technical Institute to get my associate's degree in automotive technology, with the hopes of going into they actually have a NASCAR program that you can get into, which I was trying to get, but unfortunately it didn't go that way. I actually ended up picking up a scholarship from BMW and going to Phoenix, Arizona to go train at the BMW STEP program, which is basically BMW's program that once you get into that phase of your career and you graduate from their class, you basically leave that class a master technician, which was super awesome. It was one of the best times of my life. I got to work on and from that time was probably the craziest cars that I've ever seen, because I've never been around cars that nice, nor did I think I would ever be working around cars that nice. So I ended up sticking out with BMW for the rest of my associates, and completing my associates and getting my degree in automotive technology. And from there, that's when I decided to try to see if I can dabble into the racing scene. The racing scene was super cool. At the tracks over there in Arizona, probably one of the best car scenes I've ever seen in my life. Car meets, street races, track days, drift events. Arizona definitely had it all. And that was definitely, it was almost kind of like living the life of Fast and the Furious, which was just absolutely amazing. After that, I graduated school, slowly continued to progress in my automotive career, where I thought I was actually going to get picked up by BMW right after school, and that's actually not what happened. So I was actually contacted by Tesla, and I spent a couple of years in Tesla, which was probably the craziest opportunity I've ever had. The things I got to do over there, and the things I got to experience working on, the newest, technology regarding electronic vehicles. Super insane. That was definitely like a landmark in my career as an automotive technician that absolutely just blew me out of the water. So once I did that, that's when I started taking an interest in maybe wanting to go somewhere else and actually go back to, like, you know, your petrol powered vehicles, because I mean that was where my background in cars originated. I learned how to drive at 14 years old. First car that I ever owned was a 1988 Honda CRX, which is my favorite car, will always be my favorite car. Nothing could probably replace that car till this very day. I remember when I first got my first job and I started doing all the cheesy mods to the car, and everything was just, it was exactly the way I wanted it to, but I was still kind of young as far as, you know, experience and racing and automotive and things like that. So I mean, a lot of the things I did were actually pretty cringe, but overall it was my car, and my car was my car, and that was the car that I was gonna love until, you know, I didn't have it anymore. So that car actually ended up becoming a full-blown drag car towards the end of my college career, going into my early automotive technician career. We did an amazing amount of things to that car, and it was just a sight to see, seeing it go from 108 horsepower D16 engine, which, you know, it would stall just because I guess the force of the torque from the engine actually it wasn't even enough to get the car spinning, just easing off the clutch. It was such a weak little car, but it was absolutely the funnest thing in the world to drive with how small it was. It was a very spirited car. We ended up swapping that engine, of course, to a B18C5 out of a Type R Integra from Japan, and doing definitely a lot more mods to it than I would have cared to do for a car in that condition. But I mean, hey, we made it work. I'm pretty sure I bought the car for about $2,700, and I think the suspension setup alone I had was probably closer to about $4,000, which definitely blows my mind thinking about it now to this day. But I mean, when I was doing it, it just made sense. So as far as the channel goes, back to the channel. Sorry, I got off on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, that's the goal right now. Right now, the goal is just to share my experiences in sim racing. I mean, I'm definitely no Super GT or any of the crazy performing pros that you see on this game. I just have fun playing the game. I just love having that feeling of, you know, racing, but at the same time, you know, because of my current career path, it's not like it's something that I would be able to turn into like something realistic, or like doing something with it in real life like anytime soon. I mean, I definitely do plan on maybe building another project car. I know they are planning on building a racetrack out here in Honolulu. The next coming, I don't know how long it's going to take really, but I know they did announce that there was a track coming here soon. So maybe if that's the case, then maybe I'll end up pulling another project car and building it to race at the track, which, I mean, of course, I'll be documenting that and posting it where I see fit along the way. It's definitely something I really hope that I can do while I'm here, but at the same time, being in the Army, I mean, I can be pulled out of here and put somewhere else that maybe does already have like an established racetrack, and I can go actually do some IRL stuff, which is, you know, another dream of mine that I want to do. But we'll have to see how that goes, depending on what finances look like, and, you know, making sure that wife and kids are nice and happy first before I do try to pull the trigger on another project car, and seeing where that takes me from there. But yeah, so that's what I have so far, and let's see. We'll get into like my setup at least. I think that's a pretty good idea. We'll get into the setup a little bit. So right now I'm running a 27-inch just LG gaming monitor, Ultra Gear, I believe is what they call it. 0 millisecond response time monitor, and then right now what you're seeing is my very first gameplay on my Logitech G923 racing sim setup, which is I mean, it's definitely it works for me. Okay, I know like the reviews about it, and I know that there's plenty of other steering wheels out there. But from a financial standpoint, being in the army, I just couldn't find myself biting off any more at this point in time. But maybe later on in the future, I will invest in a direct drive, what's it called, steering wheel setup, and maybe some better pedals, and maybe an actual cockpit. Because right now, the steering wheel is mounted to a desk, and I'm sitting in a camping chair right now. Other than that, let me see. I mean, I do definitely plan on doing some upgrades if the finances are deemed sufficient enough to be able to bite the bullet on one of those things, which I would definitely look forward to. But I mean, just right now, for the time being, it just doesn't seem like that's gonna be my way to go. A lot of the things around this video is mainly just based on like an introduction. That way, you guys can get a feel for like who I am. Maybe you guys enjoy my content, maybe you guys don't. That's completely okay. I'm not really trying to send this channel to the moon. I mean, if it does happen and I'm blessed enough to get that opportunity, that would be great. But until then, I mean, I'm really just enjoying, what I do in the army, and doing the things that I do with sim racing on my free time. Just wanted to start like logging my journey, so that way, maybe a few years down the road, if I actually get any better and stuff like that, I have somewhere to look back on, and hopefully I have a group of people, of whether it be subscribers, friends, that are made from this, and we just get to progress together and see later on the road where we are then to where we started from, which is what you're seeing now, which is this very first gameplay, which, I mean, if you've been watching the actual gameplay, it's been pretty rough. Super shoddy gameplay, but I promise once I get the hang of it, I should be a little bit better. I actually wouldn't have made this many mistakes or done some of the crazy things that I've done on this gameplay with controller. But I mean, I definitely want to full send it into the sim racing experience and really get the most out of it, even if it means taking a few steps back and having to relearn the fundamentals and how to control everything and make everything work the way I want it to. But yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed this little conversation that we've had today. It's definitely been a different experience. I'm sorry if I sound weird, if I've taken too many pauses, or I'm stuttering, and there were points in time where I couldn't find my words, but that's because I'm recording this live as I'm doing this. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you for doing that as well. I'm really looking forward to this journey that we're hopefully gonna embark on, and hopefully see what it can turn into. Oh, there we go. See, it's another. Can't really get the control of this thing. This thing is driving me absolutely nuts, but we're gonna get there. But yeah, well, I thank you for stopping by the video. Like I said, if you made it to the end, if you like the content, drop a like. If you want to, be a part of this journey, you're more than welcome to subscribe. I'm not gonna ask you to subscribe. I just feel like that's a little weird asking for people to do things, but I mean, if you feel like you want to and you want to see what this channel can become, then please feel welcome to do as you see fit. There we go again. I'm gonna lose my mind, but we will end the video here shortly, and what's it called? Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you.